But I want to welcome you. My name is Brian Kaplan. So usually I've met a lot of you through the guise of being a speaker for the Grow with Google program. In my old life, I used to speak for Constant Contact all the time. And just to give you an idea, I've been putting together emails, sending emails, working with clients for the better part of 15 years. It's like muscle memory for me. I can go to sleep and put together emails. So what we did today is I teamed up with Anthony and we've put together this presentation to really help you write effective marketing emails for any situation. And so as we go through, let me actually switch it up. First thing I want to point out, some of you already have, and I'm really glad you have. Jump over to briankaplan.com/go. You can do it after the webinar as well. You can actually join our events list. We have other events coming up. I just created a new one about LinkedIn. We have one about visuals and using visuals in your marketing. We'll have even more about web design and email marketing. My whole thing is helping. We created a free marketing community called the Bigger, Better Biz community. See the shirt right here. I even got fancy shirts made. So some of you are members. I'm glad you joined today with the free marketing community. One thing we do, and one thing you'll see on that Go page, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see that we offer a free 30-minute blueprint strategy session. So what is it? It's literally 30 minutes with me or my business partner, Jake. And we're going to record the call so that everybody can see it. We post it up on YouTube and we go through your marketing. If you have questions about your website, about Google My Business, local SEO, email marketing, social media, design, anything, we're going to help you walk through it. We provide you with the recording so that you can learn from it and grow. That's the whole point of the Bigger, Better Biz community. So I welcome you to jump over to briankaplan.com/go. Now, there's a lot of competition in the inbox. How many of you, write in the chat, because I can see you guys in the chat, how many of you have been seeing more and more emails in your inbox lately? Give me a yes or give me a thumbs up if you're on video. Tons of emails, right? So especially you guys noticed it when we hit the pandemic, when everyone was home. There was a captive audience. In fact, when we look at stats, according to Statista, 306 billion emails were said to be sent every day at the end of 2020. Every day. Now, that doesn't mean you're getting 306 billion emails in your inbox, but you definitely noticed an influx, right? Because more and more businesses are realizing email is still a way to stay connected. What's been found is that actually email marketing has one of the highest returns on investment. So for every dollar you invest, it's actually over $45 you can expect in a return on investment. Why? Because let's say, Matt, you just actually said something. You said you've been collecting a list of contacts. So maybe you have 50, maybe you have 100, maybe you have 500. You're going to send them one email, but you're not going to stop there. Then you're going to send them a second email. Especially after this, I'm going to give you emails, give you ideas of what emails to send. You're going to continue sending emails. You're going to prolong the lifetime value of that customer. Instead of being one transaction where they came to your shop or stayed at your hotel or ate at your restaurant, you're going to get them to come back again and again. You're going to build brand loyalty. That's where the power of email comes in. But do any of you ever feel like Carol Burnett in this scene when you go to write an email? Right? This is one of my favorite. I mean, talk about slapstick comedy. I saw this, I had to put it on. When you go to write an email, it's daunting. And in fact, when we think about emails, we think about this idea. I've got like 5 of these. There we go. You don't know what to send. You don't want to annoy your customers. And tell me in the questions or in the chat box, which one applies to you or if all of them do. It takes too long. You don't have the time. You're not a good writer. You're trying to get people to open and click and you don't know how. You don't want to play the game. Or marketing just isn't your thing. Now, any of those apply probably in different situations. Most of the time when I'm talking to people, and especially when we start working with clients, they're like, I just don't know what to send and I don't want to annoy people. Well, you've got to think about this. If 306 billion emails were sent every day on average in 2020, people are getting a lot of emails. You're not annoying them if you can get through to them. So we're going to talk about some best practices here to get through to them and give them value add information. Okay, so the agenda today, we've got different types of emails that we're going to put together. I'm going to give you a simple formula for any email. And I'm even going to give you some expert tips from my 15 years in the industry. Plus, I'll give you a really cool case study about how we were able to sell $5,000 in one product with one email over 4 days. So we've got different types of emails, right? Now, before we talk about what you put in your emails, you have to understand the different types of emails you might send out. This is for a nonprofit, but on the left-hand side, it's something where we're asking for something. We have a call to action, volunteers needed. Right now, all of us aren't running nonprofits. A lot of us are running for-profit companies, but it just shows you it's a very simple, quick email with a button. On the other hand, on the right side, hey, we're talking about maybe the CSA or the crop share that we have and how we want people, how we were able to feed all of these families thanks to your help. There are different types of emails again, and still it's helping to keep people engaged with your marketing. So we've got time-based and we have informational. Now, the question is, how often should I send? I get this a lot. And people are thinking, well, if I send more than once a month, I'm going to annoy people. No, if you send once a month or less, none. If you send once a month, you're going to be forgotten, especially with people that are getting daily emails. They're seeing 60, 75. I mean, I probably get over 150 emails in my inbox every day. Now, granted, I subscribe to a lot of emails to see what other people are doing. I highly recommend you do it with your competitors. But in order to stay top of mind and keep your brand in front of people, you have to send more than once a month. So we're going to talk about the different types of emails. So let's look at these. First, on the left-hand side, we've got a simple promo email. You guys see these all the time. Hey, save 20%, something like that. It's going to, it's trying to induce you to click and buy. And we'll talk about the fear of missing out and that psychological trigger as well. The middle one, hey, okay, we've got a goal achieved. These are all fake companies, by the way. Polaris Marketing Solutions, when we work with clients, we're proud to announce that we recently helped a client achieve their goal of $10,000 revenue with their online business. You're going to see those quite a bit. And you'll actually see those popping up more and more. They're trying to demonstrate social proof. They're basically painting a picture for you and saying, hey, this company did it. You can do it. Just click the button. And then on the right-hand side, make a donation. You're actually giving different amounts. $10 does this, provides a family meal. $25 provides a family member with new clothes. If you're even able to paint a picture, especially if you're a nonprofit, of what that money is going to do, and I can tell you from running a 501c3, you definitely want to be as transparent as possible, but more so you want them to be able to basically imagine it, envision it. It's called future setting or future pacing. So basically we're saying, if you click this button and you choose to give me $25, you're going to clothe a family member. If you give me 50 to 250, you're going to feed an entire family for a week. Now, what I would do in this email, just to give you an idea, I would probably show pictures of each of those things to try to help you future pace, help you imagine what your money can do. Let's talk about event emails first, though. So have you guys ever run an event for your business, or are you planning on running an event for your business? Put it in the chat. Let's see. Kevin sent once a month. I send once a week, reminding them about our free Facebook Live edutainment. Love it. Yep, you did one in February. Awesome. Our annual warehouse sale, Adrian. Awesome. So, I mean, you guys have events that might be coming up, especially since some of the countries opening up, things like that. And you might be having live events. You might still have virtual events. For us, if you're on our list, you see that we're always telling you about the future events, because what I believe in is repetition. That's how you guys are going to get it subconsciously. That's how you're going to remember this marketing and use it. You're going to get repetition. You're going to see it, watch it again and again. So you might use a save the date email, just the buzz, just like a save the date for an engagement or a wedding, same kind of thing. Invitations. Of course, if you're sending an email, and the beautiful thing about email, what we'll talk about too, is personalization, how you can put in a custom greeting. And I can say, hey, Kevin, hey, Norma, hey, Robin, hey, Kimmy, hey, Tina, do you want to come to my event? And I'm naming you. I'm actually sending you the invitation. Reminders. Life happens, especially now. I'll tell you a quick story. Guess what? Just 3 weeks ago, after 35 years, I was diagnosed with ADHD. Wow. For 35 years, I just thought I was really unorganized and couldn't get anything done. And especially when it comes to reminders and life happening, I got 2 kids, 2 puppies, a wife, a house. I got a lot of things to take care of, plus running a business. I'm going to forget about your event. Sending me a reminder is a great way to tell me that it's coming up. Some of you probably got the reminder a few minutes before this event started too. And also with events, follow-ups. There's 4 emails you can send right there to stay in touch and to keep your brand in front of people without annoying them. We've also got holidays. So think about it. Formal holidays, of course. You're getting the Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, Happy New Year, Happy Thanksgiving. Those are great. What I challenge you guys to do, you can go find really fun holidays. So I work with a realtor just south of Boston in Braintree, Mass. One of the things we do every year is we send out a magnet with some fun holidays. We have National Pickle Day, National Ice Cream Day, National Talk Like Shakespeare Day. So there's some fun things that you can do. You can send an email. People love that kind of stuff. It's kitschy, it's novelty, but at the same time, they're going to be like, oh, wow, National Donut Day. That's so cool. You could even send an email and say, hey, it's National Donut Day. Respond back or jump to our Facebook page, comment on a post, and you'll be entered into a drawing for a free $5 Dunkin' Donuts gift card. We'll buy the donut for you. So think about now how you can use something totally out of the blue that's fun, but it's not annoying, and add some value to it. Give them an incentive to get engaged with your brand. And then basically you're going to build some goodwill. How to. So in teaching for Google, one thing that I can tell you is the search term how to, especially on YouTube, has just ballooned. It's rocketed. People are watching videos all the time about how to. Like when I had kids, I had to build the cribs. I wasn't going to let someone in the house. I needed to do it because I was dad. I needed to make sure they were safe. Well, when you start reading that 30-page manual and your head just turns to mush, you're going to go watch a video. People want to know how things are done. You can create videos, a step-by-step video, or you could just do a simple instruction. You could use a Word doc or a Google doc, save it as a PDF and send it out, or put it step-by-step in the email. Checklists and guides. How many of you work well when you have a checklist and it's presented to you and you just have to check the box each time, right? A lot of us are like that. My wife uses a calendar. So we have a project we're about to do. She's like, Brian, come to the calendar. I got this nice glass calendar for her. And I looked at it, I go, that's not how I operate. She goes, but I said, that's not how I operate. I need a checklist. So you put it on your calendar, but then give me a checklist and I will get everything done on my honey-do list. So send your customers, your clients a checklist as well. Tips and best practices. The name of the game here is adding value. So you want to educate them, you want to entertain them. If you guys have come to my YouTube course, you've heard me say edutain. And I'm going to type that into the chat right now. Edutain. I want you all to take down that note if you're taking notes. Edutainment is the idea that you're actually going to be educating them and entertaining them at the same time. So when I started my videos, I was so boring. I was just monotone. And then I started realizing, okay, I'm educating people and I'm sharing marketing tips, but marketing can be really boring for people. So I had to soup it up. I had to kind of boost it, get some more energy in the videos. And then I started posing questions. And then I started sharing this, sharing anecdotes, telling them quick tips. Edutainment is a great way to engage and to stay engaged and really convert those customers because you're giving them the knowledge they need to feel informed. And frequently asked questions. I want all of you to write down your top 10 frequently asked questions. Top 10. If you do 20, good, brownie points for you. You get bonus points, but at least your top 10. You get these questions all the time. Now, what you can do is you can do a lot of things with those. You can turn that into an FAQ page on your website. You could create videos for each of your FAQ questions, your frequently asked questions. You could also put one or two in your email or just say, hey, frequently asked question of the week. Here it is. Jump to our blog for the answer. Okay. So now you're giving people a reason to maybe jump to your website or jump to our website to see our other frequently asked questions. If you can inform people, if you can actually set an expectation for them, they're more willing to give you their money. They're more willing to spend time and money with you because you've educated them enough that they know what's coming. Think about if you've ever traveled, okay? And many of us probably get travel anxiety because you don't know what the system's going to, especially now, you don't know what's going to happen, what the process is going to be. Then you're going to get to another airport. You don't know where you're going and everything else. If you can proactively answer frequently asked questions, you're going to take away that buying anxiety, that basically that consumer anxiety that people might have before they open their wallet with you. Let's see what else we got here. This thing does not want to work for me. Create a dialogue. I just had someone, and actually they're on the call today. So Tina, you asked me a great question. We were going back and forth, and Tina asked, hey, we're going to start sending emails. Should I send an email and ask for a review? For your first email out of the gate, no. unless you have a specific list you're going to contact. So let's say that you have Matt on this call has maybe 5 or 10 people. If you're going to ask those 5 or 10 people for a review, sure, send them a review request. What I will say is don't ever link to Yelp. Yelp knows when you provide people with a link and they will hide those reviews right away. But if you're going to ask them for a review on Google or on Facebook or Better Business Bureau, go ahead. But if you're just starting to send out emails to people, don't send a review request. Basically what you're saying is, hey, here's an email. Now take the time to read it. Now I'm going to make you do something. You don't want to do that. What you want to do, though, is create a dialogue. Maybe ask them questions, or like I was doing with the poll that many of you answered. I'm going to end that. So let me share the results really quick, actually. So 53% of you are currently sending emails. 20% have in the past, but you haven't, not really doing it. Maybe after this you will. 27% of you know I'm brand new. There you go. So now we see that. Now it's gone. So if you're starting to send emails, or if you sent emails in the past and you want to re-engage with them, send a quick one. Hey, what's your burning question about our product or service? What's one thing you wanted to know, or what's one thing that made you want to shop with us? Or what's a question that you have for our owner that they can answer for you? Creating a simple dialogue, and especially if you're using personalization in your email, and specifically we're looking at Constant Contact, but most platforms do have personalization. I could say, hey, Kevin, hey, Mona, hey, Anthony, what's your burning question about marketing? If you guys join my marketing community, the first email you get, and yes, it's automated. I'm not sitting there pressing send every time, but you're getting an email that says, what is your burning question about marketing? What do you want to know? You don't know how many responses I get. People are they're like, okay, I have this question. And guess what? I read every one and I reply. Now people are like, oh my goodness, I just got my question answered. I've got to learn more. So how can you incorporate that into your product or service process? And like we just did with a poll, you can use polls in email as well. Most platforms offer it. It's usually part of the package where you can send a poll. It could be a simple 1 or 2 question answer. In this case, hey, what flavor would you like to try? Guess what? If you clicked on cinnamon roll or brown butter bacon, sweet corn or salty popcorn and caramel, now you're going to be added to a list. There's something called action-based triggers. And especially with Constant Contact, we do this all the time. If you clicked on one of these and I know that you like brown butter bacon, guess what I'm going to send you? Emails about brown butter bacon. Now I'm talking directly to you and I know I can make a sale. So using polls is a great way to create dialogue. Behind the scenes. So people want to know who's working for you. They want to meet your team. So I would definitely recommend, if it's just you, if you're a solopreneur, then talk more about yourself. Maybe you introduce your family if you want to, but tell them, introduce them to your reason for being, to your reason for creating a business, selling, and basically keeping a roof over your heads. If you have a team, feature your team, feature your employees, especially like home services. We just worked with an electrician that has 8 vans up here in Manchester, New Hampshire. And I said, we've got to feature each of your employees so that people know who's coming to their house, right? Especially now in a pandemic, I want to know who's coming to my house. I'd like to see them. And then when I actually see them at my door, I'm like, hey, that's Stu. Hey, that's John. Hey, that's Jake. That's Jill. How products are made. There's a show that has multiple seasons and it's just called How It's Made. So people want to know, how are things made? If you can show in the back end how things are made as a restaurateur, how do you make your dishes? It's not like you're giving away your ingredient list, but you can show people, they'll try to copy it. It probably won't be good and they'll come to your restaurant. If you're selling something retail like candles, I worked with a candle business in Missouri, same kind of thing. I said, you've got to show how you're adding the wax, how you're adding the scents, the type of wick you're using. People are curious about that stuff. They love learning that. Your inspiration for a certain product or service. What's your muse? Why do you do it? Now, for me, I have several different inspirations, and there are a lot of things that motivate me to do what I do, to teach these free classes, to create the free marketing community. And I'm going to be sharing some of that stuff. It's taken me a while, but some real personal things that are still, I think, very pertinent that you guys should know. What's your inspiration? What's part of your origin story? Why are you running the business and why are you doing what you do? News. So business news, industry news, local happenings, especially if you're like a realtor or you're someone that serves the community, you want to show that you have your thumb on the pulse and you want to make sure that people know that you know what you're talking about, you're a steward of the community, you're also able to show your thought leadership. For instance, Google just came out with something about Google My Business. There's a lot of companies that are trying to stuff keywords. So you might have seen like, oh, Manchester auto repair, and then dash car repair, dash auto repair, dash blah, blah, blah. People are stuffing keywords. Well, guess what? You're going to get in trouble with that. For me to share that with you is probably going to help some businesses from getting penalized. So I'd want to share that. And I also demonstrate my thought leadership. I know what's happening. You guys know what's happening in your industry. With Kevin, you're educating, you're entertaining, things like that. There's probably some great classes you have. What's going into it? Have you studied some psychology? Have you studied some learning practices that help you to better educate kids with your shows? So we want to think about that. Newsletters. So newsletters, first off, someone's trying to get in. Hold on. We want to first segment when possible. Not everybody wants to read a newsletter. If you're a nonprofit, or if you're a library, or if you're a house of worship, or if you're a preschool, then yes, I most likely will want to get your newsletter if I subscribed. I'm expecting to get a newsletter, but some people just don't want to get it. And if they do get it, they'll be nauseated to the point where they're going to unsubscribe. Still here, what we want to do with a newsletter, we want to make sure that we're basically building it into sections. 3 topics at most. Any more than that, what you're asking for is someone to just be either bored, or they're going to be overwhelmed and inundated with too much information. They're going to say, I don't want to receive this anymore. I don't have the time for it. All of us now, I don't have the time for it. So what you want to do, 3 topics at most. Read more links are going to be your best friend if you're sending out a newsletter. With read more links, send them to a certain page on your site, send them to a blog post, maybe send them to a video or even a social post. Have them go somewhere else. If you can do, remember what I was talking about before with action-based triggers. With email marketing, you're able to track when people click. Big brother, kind of creepy, I know, but it's smart marketing, it's data. So I could see that, Norma, I'm just going to use you as an example because you're right there under my face. And I love your hoops. So Norma, for you, if you clicked on read more, then I would know that you're interested in what we did to prepare all of this food for people. Then I'm going to send you more emails about the labor, the products of our labor, what's happening, the fruits of our labor, if you will. So I know that you're interested in getting that. If someone clicked on volunteering more, then I'm going to put them into a volunteer bucket. I'm going to send videos. I'm going to basically pull on their heartstrings to give me their time to volunteer because it's a nonprofit. So now by using those links, I can actually segment them out and figure out who's interested in what. Some really smart marketing there. Automated emails to consider. I'm going to tell you of any of these. When you set up your email, right? When you start working, if you started and you stopped, or if you're doing it now and you may not have this, I want you to really look at your welcome email. Your welcome email is going to get one of the highest open rates of any email and highest click-through rates. Reason being, you're sending in a welcome email right after people subscribe. They're going to your website, they're entering in their name and their email. They see a link on social media, they're entering a name, they're filling out a form, or they're entering a drawing or a contest. They need instant gratification. That's what we all expect. How many of you are using like a streaming service like Hulu or Netflix or one of those, and you sit there and you're just cursing at the screen as that little circle loads? All of us. We're all expecting instant gratification now. We're all expecting that when we want something, it's going to come to us. We're hardwired for it. So if I sign up for your email list, if I enter a drawing, I want an email in my inbox confirming that, or welcoming me to your family, welcoming me to your community, your fold, whatever it is. Your welcome email is going to get historically open rates of 65 to 70%. Some of the highest open rates you'll see because it's top of mind for people. You're also going to see a really good click-through rate if you give people a reason to do something, a reason to engage. Hey, check out our latest product. Hey, check out how this is made. Or if you can offer a coupon or incentive, get them to shop right away while you're top of mind. These two over here are time-based. So when we're talking about time-based emails, when people join your list, you can give them an anniversary email. So for one of our clients who's a realtor, when people join the list, or if we add them to the list, we put their closing date on there. Then every year we send them a happy house anniversary email. Hey, if those people bought the house when they were single or just married, maybe they have had kids, maybe they adopted, maybe they've grown their family, maybe the in-laws are living with them now. Could be any of those things. Every year we're wishing them a happy house anniversary. Automatic. Don't have to do anything. We automated the whole thing. But if we do, guess what? Now those people are going to be thinking of my realtor client if they need a bigger house, or if they get to the point where they need to downsize. Happy house anniversary. Oh, you know what? It's time to downsize. Let me contact that realtor. Birthday emails, same thing for retail, for salon, spa, any type of service, even professional services. Just sending a birthday email, people love getting them. They love being the center of attention. You can pop in their birthday. If you get it, they can add their birthday when they're signing up or confirming their email. And then you're going to just be automatically sending it. The beauty of these 3 emails is that you build them once and they go out. It's that Ron Popeil set it and forget it. You don't have to keep sitting there pressing send. It will send out for you. And it's a great way to stay engaged with your clients. Okay, so we talked about the different types of emails. I'm going to give you a simple formula for writing any email. Now, according to research, what's been found, according to Constant Contact, and they looked at millions of campaigns that were sent out through their system, 20 lines of text or 200 words is going to result in the highest click-through rate. Why? People don't want to read. People would rather watch a 15-second or 30-second video than read a paragraph or 2 paragraphs of text. If they see too much text, they feel overwhelmed. Again, let me bring back in my personal diagnosis of ADHD. When I would go to a blog post and I would start seeing all of this stuff, I skim, but then even if it's too much, I'm going to get out and go find something else that has bullet points. People just want to be able to skim, to read really quickly. And I was diagnosed, but a lot of people haven't been diagnosed. They got one of these bad boys and they're overstimulated. You can't see it. There it is. People are seeing thousands of marketing impressions, advertisements every day because of their digital devices. They're looking at their phone an average of 150 times. Factor in their tablets as well, over 200 times a day. People are already seeing this digital ADD. So if you're giving them too much information or you're overwhelming them, you're not going to get the clicks. 20 lines of text or 200 words. Now, really simple framework. Picture, paragraph, call to action. Simple and easy. It does not have to be a novel that you're writing. Let's let Debbie in here. So picture flowers for any occasion. Mother's Day is coming up. This would be a great image to send. Or what I like to do, you see the hand in there. If you guys can get your own photos, if you can have a happy mom holding a bouquet of flowers, if you were a florist, much better when you can insert a whole human being into the image. Again, future pacing, they're envisioning themselves. Paragraph, right there, real simple. Just a couple of sentences. Doesn't have to be that much. And a button, call to action, shop now. There was a study a while ago, and actually what happened was a florist did a split campaign. To explain what a split campaign is, you basically create the same email, you duplicate it, but you just change one thing. In this case, the subject line was the same, the from name was the same, the time they sent was the same. They split the list in half. On the first email, they sent 1 arrangement of flowers. On the second email, they sent 4 arrangements of flowers. Now, this was right before Valentine's Day, and it was one of those, did you forget? Don't worry, we have you covered. Either choose this 1 arrangement or the other list got the 4. Which one do you think did better? Type it in the chat. I'm seeing what Kevin's thinking. I'm seeing multiple flowers. I'm seeing 1 single option. Hi, Robin. Kimmy, 1. Tiffany, 4. 1. Multiple. We're divided here. 1, 1. 1. You guys have ever heard of analysis paralysis? It's when your brain is overloaded. You start thinking and you start figuring out and trying to think, if I choose this option, what's going to be the result? If I choose this option, if you give too many options, if you've ever been to a restaurant, breakfast restaurant, great restaurant. If you've ever gone, if you live on the South Shore of Massachusetts, there's a place called Percy's Place. It is one of the biggest menus I've ever seen in my life. Literally, you walk in, you want eggs and bacon, you're going to have an anxiety attack instead because there's too much, right? So here's what happens. If you give people too many options, they're overloaded. Instead of making a decision, it's easier for them to not make a decision. The confused mind does not buy. One option. Give them one option. Then when they get to your website, okay, maybe you offer other options. You have a pop-up to upsell or something like that. But in an email, one option. Okay, so what to say and how to say it. For-profit businesses. Again, Giraldi Consulting doesn't exist. How to streamline your website. So let's look at it. What are you offering? The headline stops the reader. How to streamline your website. Is that the sexiest headline? No. Is your website out of whack? Question mark. That could be better. Is your website confusing people? That could be better. You can use a question as a headline. It's a really good prompt, really good way to get people's attention. I've been reading a great book called Trust Me, I'm Lying. It's about a guy who manipulated blogs, and basically how blogs manipulate readers is really, really cool science, kind of sad. But questions, those loaded questions, go a long way in getting people to stop. And kind of it's this pattern interrupt where they stop and they're like, oh, wait, is my website confusing readers? So think about that. How will it help the reader? So your message body, again, just a few paragraphs, less than 20 lines of text or 200 words, process payments, access visitor data. Okay, this is obviously very targeted, because if I sent something like this to you guys, you'd all snooze, but you get the idea. What should they do next? Call to action. Schedule a consultation. Now, when you're choosing your button or your call to action, you guys need to use an action word. So a call to action is when you're telling someone to do something, not click here, because click here doesn't tell them anything. Schedule a consultation. Check your website now. Let's audit your website. Something like that. So you're using an action word, schedule, check now, audit, not just using the generic click here. Okay. You want to be as forthcoming and as basically as deliberate as possible. When they click on this button, what are they going to get? Same thing. Save now, buy now. Also, your audience plays into it, the maturity of your audience. So I use the example quite a bit. If I had a pizza restaurant, if it's an older audience or a more esteemed audience, or even like, upper older young professionals, I might say place your order or order now. If it's college students who are ordering $5 pizza because they went out and had a good time and now they need to eat something, I might say feed your face, right? That's not going to work with a 30 or 35-year-old family member. They're going to, or, head of household, they're going to say, what the heck is this? This isn't meant for me. So you want to also think about your audience, but you're going to try to use something to induce clicks. So you want to be obvious with what they're going to do when they click. For nonprofits, basically, what are you trying to accomplish? Share your photos and videos from River Cleanup Day. Now, in this case, you've already established a connection, an emotional connection, an intrinsic value connection with your readers. So you're asking them to do something. They're going to be willing to share, because guess what? As much as we do it to be selfless, we also do it to be selfish so that we can show other people that we did good things. So people are willing to share their videos and photos of them doing something nice. It's just psychology. Why should the reader care? The message body. Okay, thanks for your help last week. Did you take any photos? We'd love to share them with us on our Facebook page, and use the hashtag Blackwater Cleanup. And then, of course, you've got your call to action, share my photos and videos. So basically, for this nonprofit, it's just showing that people actually did what they said they were going to do. For nonprofits, the real struggle is transparency and integrity. So this is a great email just to get people to share that from different angles, different perspectives. How to curate content. So all the time, you guys need to know, you don't just need to create content. It doesn't just need to be yourself sitting there, banging your head against the desk, trying to figure out what you're going to write. You can also curate content. That's where I was talking about news and business news, industry news, things like that, happenings in the community. A great source of content, feedly.com. You can create a free account. So you can go and basically you can search for different things. You can also, of course, search on Google. You can go on Google News or something like that, or you can go to your favorite periodical or blog and look for something. What you want to do though is not just share it. I mean, you could regurgitate it, but that doesn't help. It doesn't add value. It doesn't edutain. Instead, you want to offer some perspective. So I might see an article that talks about how a lot of people aren't clicking when they go on Google. They're searching for something and they're not clicking anymore because it's called a no-click search. Well, I want to talk about how businesses can get involved with that, how they can take advantage of it. So I'm going to offer my perspective so that I actually establish some thought leadership. People are thinking about me when they're thinking about that. And then, of course, cite your source, give credit. Even with that Carol Burnett, the animated GIF, whatever you want to call it, I give credit. You know, the image was from so on and so forth. You want to make sure that people know where it's coming from. It's ethical. It's also, you want to avoid plagiarism. Your subject line is super important. You have a tenth of a second to form an impression. A tenth of a second. That's 100 milliseconds. That's less than it takes to blink your eyes. It takes you 300 to 400 milliseconds to blink your eyes. So in 1/3 of an eye blink, people need to actually see and process your subject line and figure out if they want to read your email. Your subject line should be 4 to 7 words. Okay. That's kind of hard. This is a heuristic. It's a rule of thumb. Sometimes you might have 8 to 10 words. Sometimes you might fit in that 4 to 7 word bucket. That's fine. You're trying to stay around there. Keep it short and sweet because people are going to make that impression right away. Crafting your subject line. So first thing, is there any highlight from your content? So think about the content you have in the email. Is there something that people would want to know about? Are there certain keywords or phrases? So a great thing, I'll give you a bonus tip right here. I'm going to type it in. This is where I struggle, the subject line. So here's a great tip. I want you to go to g.co/trends. That's Google Trends. It's a free tool. You got to be signed into Google, but you can see what's trending. What are people talking about? Is there some sort of keyword or phrase that people are looking at? You'll see the relative popularity of those different searches. And I'll actually make a video about it too to help you guys. But if you go on there, you can see a specific keyword. Consider putting that into your subject line. Is it going to catch people's attention? Is what people are talking about right now? Focus on the benefit. What's in it for them? With them? What's in it for me? The bottom line, people care about, they're spending time. They know that if they click, it's a micro commitment and they're investing their time to read your email. What is that micro commitment worth to them? What's in it for them? Why should they care? How can it help them? How can it add value to them? So I want you to think about that. Now, I just put out a video too. I'll make sure that I send it to all of you guys. It's about buyer personas and building a buyer persona. So we don't talk about it today, but I just want you to get an idea and write down buyer persona. Let me write it here. Buyer persona. A buyer persona is when you define your ideal customer. It's the person that most likely is reading your email, but then they're taking action and they're buying. So I want you to think about your buyer persona. What's in it for them? How can we help them? Why should they care? If you can envision your buyer persona, I actually have a cool tool for you to build one. If you can envision it, then from there, you can start making emails that actually connect with them, that actually stand out in the inbox, don't annoy them, but give them value. So let's do some other subject line ideas. Make them laugh. Calm down Mother Nature. So that's from a landscaping business. When we get dumped with 12, 14, 20 inches of snow, that's a good one. The snow isn't going to slow us down. Use numbers. 5 tips for perfectly grilled ribs. People love when you use numbers because it sets an expectation. If I read this email right away, when I click in, I'll see 1, 2, or 3 things. I'll get 3 things of value or 5 things of value. Be inquisitive. Remember, asking questions, great social prompt. Are your investments working for you? ... is cut off. So 3 questions to ask to maximize. Now, before you guys say, but Brian, you said 4 to 7 words. Why is it cut off? It's because it's on a phone. But at the same time, are your investments working for ... It's strategically thought out because you know what's going to come next. But you're also like, wait, are they working for me? Does my guy at Fidelity or does my Ameritrade account or does my crypto app that I'm using to invest in Dogecoin, is it working for me? Do I know what I'm doing right now? Pull at their heartstrings. Take 5 minutes to help animals in need. Well, if you're an animal lover, then 5 minutes, that's nothing. $10 can help us save more animals. really pulling at your heartstrings, almost like that Sally Struthers commercial for a cup of coffee a day. Remember that? Same kind of thing, or Sarah McLachlan in the background. And finally, FOMO, fear of missing out. FOMO, fear of missing out. Last chance, register by Friday. Last chance, seats are limited. Don't forget, don't miss out. You can't miss this. There are certain marketers who use this every single time ad nauseum. I don't recommend that. Everything in moderation. All of these that I've shown you in moderation. If you send a number subject line each time, people are going to diminish. It's like ordering a pizza. You eat the first slice, it's great. Second slice, it's pretty good. Third slice, you're starting to hate yourself. By the fourth slice, you don't know what you did with yourself. You really have regrets. Diminishing returns. The same thing. If you use the same thing over and over again, you're going to have diminishing returns with your open rate. So as you can see, one thing I want to point out to you, look at my, I think I can annotate. I've never done this, so let's try it. So first thing you're going to see, especially this is on a smartphone. Now, most people are reading their emails on smartphone. Over 80% of people check their email on smartphone every single day. And over 53% of all internet traffic is from phones. US Bank, that's the from name. And then Stephanie, get 10%, that's the subject line. And then right under here, you're going to see pre-header text. I just messed it up, but you see where it is right there. Depending on your platform, I can tell you in Constant Contact, you do get to use pre-header text. Sometimes platforms don't allow you to use pre-header text. A pre-header is basically you're allowed to type in a little bit more to give them a preview of what's coming in. So you can ask a question, you can make a statement, you can write something compelling to get them to open. So just notice those right there. I always, when we send out emails, and we send out hundreds of emails a month, when we send out emails, we're always very deliberate about our subject line, and we're very deliberate about our pre-header text. Those are two opportunities for you to stand out in the inbox and get someone to open. Let's see, let me get rid of this. So here's one, my preschooler this week. Your 2-year-old, normal or gifted? I would love to know that my 4- and 6-year-old Bryce and Livy are gifted. Your child is 2 years old, wrong age, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's pre-header text, okay? So it has to be short and sweet, but at the same time, that's a great subject line because it's like, oh, I'd love for my kid to be talented and gifted. Let me get rid of this annotation here. Just clear. There we go. I feel like John Madden. More tips for writing successful emails. So I've talked about personalization, targeting. Now, when you're uploading your list, Matt, I'm going to use you because at the beginning of the presentation, you said that you have some contacts. I want you to put a little time and thought into where do those contacts come from? Okay. You guys probably heard the brand LG before, and LG makes electronics. They also make countertops. They create LG Viaterra quartz countertops. With us, we were working with the LG home brand. They had over 500,000 emails on their list just for this one division, and they had never, ever segmented them. It was just a giant list. So if you sent to that list, you were really risking losing a bunch of them because we didn't know where they came from. We didn't know what product they had bought, which is kind of shame on the company. But we created a way to target them. We sent out a poll, we had them click, and then we basically were able to target and bucket them. Any way you can target your list. If it's based on a certain product or service they bought, if it's based on a location they came from, the more you can target them, the more successful your campaigns will be. So what we want to do is don't just think about it as a spray and pray approach. This isn't a shotgun from the hip. Don't think about it as e-blasts anymore. They're not e-blasts because an e-blast is going to get clicked to spam. It's going to get clicked to junk, or you're going to be unsubscribed. Instead, it has to be a value add email and a conversation that's talking to the person. So again, what's in it for me? The most important word you could use, one of the most critical words you could use in email, you and the second person. Connect with them right away. What's happening for you? Why am I sending this to you? What are you going to get from opening my email? And of course, show your personality. There are plenty of ways to do it, whether it's an image or a meme or something that you found, could be your video that you embed in an email. Infuse personality into it. It doesn't just need to be professional and corporate. People are buying from you before they buy from your business. So So questions, as I said, frequently asked questions can become email content. We talked about that. Here are some power words to trigger a response. So when we're talking about power words, basically it's a psychological trigger, okay? Power words are going to be especially important in the subject line. So what we want to look at, if we're trying to establish trust, you're not going to send a subject line that says, trust me, I'm great. Just like that book, Trust Me, I'm Lying. Same thing. You're not going to send the word trust. You're going to say dependable, no risk, expert, experienced, encouragement, amazing, courage, happy. These words are they're eliciting a certain kind of response from you, this feeling from you. Vanity, hero. Could you be our hero? If I'm a nonprofit, can you be our hero? Conquer. Together we can conquer. We could be remarkable. Curiosity, covert, hidden, unlock, secrets, things like that. So are there ways that you can apply? And I'll let you guys, just so you know, this is recorded. I'll put it up on YouTube. You guys will have the recording. But at the same time, I want you to look at these. And if there are any that you think you could use in your next few subject lines, try to put them in. Definitely, definitely, definitely worth it. These power words can help. Now, of course, you want to avoid sex, drugs, rock and roll. You want to avoid any of those kind of spam words where it's like sale. You can use the word sale, but if you put sale in all caps with a bunch of exclamation marks, you're asking to be sent to the spam box. There's a whole bunch of spam triggers that happen as well. If you use too many punctuation marks, a bunch of exclamations, dollar signs, if you can use the word free. I get that asked that question quite a bit. You can use the word free, but again, avoid all caps. If you're sending something that basically might say something about if you're in the cannabis industry, fine. But if you're talking about it, you might get sent to spam. Certain legal things are going to be sent to spam. Insurance types things might get sent to spam. A lot of you are probably getting these emails. Hey, you qualify for $170,000 in an SBA loan. Those are getting sent to spam. So loans and stuff like that. Certain industries are going to fight an uphill battle depending on the terminology and keywords they use. These words right here, these power word triggers, from Constant Contact, they've vetted them. These are great words to use to try to get people to open. Now, of course, you should always be testing. This screen shows you how you can use, remember I talked about split testing or an A/B campaign. So here's the deal. Everything stays the same. You build one campaign. But when you're in the send screen and you're about to send it out, now I can test out two different subject lines. Again, subject lines, we have 1/10 of a second for people to consider if they want to open our email. It behooves us to test it. This is really cool. I used to have to do this manually. I feel like back in the old days, but really, I used to have to do this manually. We used to have to create a campaign for a client, duplicate it. Then we had to take the list, we had to split it in half. Then we had to test the subject line, send everything at the same time. It was a pain in the butt. Now you can do it when you're scheduling your emails. Now, I believe this is in Constant Contact's Pro or Plus, their Plus package. But for us, if we're sending to a list of 1,000 people or 5,000 people, now I can say, hey, I want to test out this subject line, calm down Mother Nature versus 5 reasons to schedule your project now. I want to do 25%. So I want to test 25% of my list. So if we had 10,000 people, it would send to 2,500 people. The system automatically measures the open rate. It takes out all of the work for you. It makes it simple. It's going to test out, and whichever one gets more opens, it's going to send to the rest of the 50% of the list. So now you have an open rate that's been tested, empirically proven with a good sample size. And now you're going to use that and try to induce more opens. So something like this is your best friend. There's also something that they don't show here, but it's been a lifesaver. Years ago, I created a video about something called the phone flank. And basically, it was this resend opportunity. So let's say you send an email to someone and you see they didn't open, and you don't want to bother them. You don't want to send it again. Well, now you can automatically resend with a different subject line so that it doesn't look like you're bothering them, but it looks like a new opportunity in their inbox. That's also another great feature I highly recommend. If any of you are sending out emails, you put the time in it. You spent this time with me. You're going to go build your email. You're going to follow along with this. You're going to send it out. You want to automatically, you can just check a box in Constant Contact and automatically resend to any non-opens. It will send to anyone who didn't open, different subject line. You're getting another brand impression in the inbox. You definitely want to do that. So recap of what I've covered, and then we're going to jump into a quick case study, and then I'll open into some questions and answers and an offer for you. One, include variety of emails and basically different types of emails, event emails, forget-me-not emails. If we're sending the newsletter, remember, you want to hit 3 sections. Try to split up and change your different emails. Have an email where you're just sending a quote and you're just telling them, hey, come check out what we did on our site. Answer 3 questions to write the text for your email. So what's in it for me? Basically, how am I going to add value to this person and why do they care? And then get personal. The more you target, the better off you're going to be. Now, do you guys want to learn about how we basically sent out the same email 4 times and made someone $5,000? Yeah. Here it is. So here's a case study. So basically, I want you to picture this. We're in the pandemic. It's just before Easter. Everybody's freaking out. This is our client. So our client's called Meyer the Hatter. They're located in New Orleans. They're one of the oldest and largest hat shops in the country. 5 generations, okay? Sales crippled because they had to shut down. Tourism was dead. People aren't going into a hat shop. People aren't going anywhere in New Orleans. And obviously flights were canceled, shelter in place, all of that. So right away, what did we do? Like a lot of businesses, we pivoted to selling online, to using e-commerce. We sent the same email campaign 4 times: Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we were promoting a sale. So if any of you think that you're going to annoy your customers, again, we wouldn't do this every weekend. This was a special sale. But if you think you're going to annoy your customers by sending to them twice a month, no. You might have people unsubscribe, but they didn't want to hear from you anyways. In this case, we netted over 5K in sales, with over 40% coming from the last day. So again, you might think that you're annoying them, but after 4 times, remember I talked about repetition, 4 times, 4 reminders, the last day we got 40% of the sales. So how do we do it? Use some of the things that I told you about previously in this presentation. The subject line. So again, the subject line, it's basically a promise of value. What are you going to get when you open this email? So with the subject line, these are the 4 emails that we sent out in order. Hours left, well, actually reverse order. 20% off, thank you for your support. Support a local business. 20% off, support NOLA. Time is running out, 20% off. Hours left, 20% off. So we start with the emotional heartstrings. You've been to our business, support us, support our community. And then we go into FOMO, fear of missing out. You guys are going to miss out if you don't click on this. Hours left. Okay. Now, remember, I told you it takes 300 to 400 milliseconds to blink your eye. To process an image, it takes 13 milliseconds. So basically, it's called rapid fire processing. And according to MIT, you could pretty much, simple, stupid math, process 30 images in the blink of an eye. But really, an image says thousands upon thousands of words. It's not just like a picture says 1,000 words, it says a lot more. Let me ask you guys, what does this image tell you right away? Type it in the chat. What does this image tell you right away when you look at it? Robin, hat to my door. Yep. Sorry. They're shipping items now. Yep. Mm-hmm. So you guys are getting it. They're busy. They're still cooking. They're still operating. They're still in business, right? So all of those things. So it's subjective. Anybody that sees an image is going to have a different perspective, a different lens. They're going to see it in a different way. But what we're conveying here is that this guy right here, which is one of the Myers, the latest generation, is shipping boxes, and he's got boxes and boxes. Other people are buying hats from us. You want to buy a hat from us too. They're busy. It ships fast. Great. All good. Now, the other thing, especially if we're crafting a deal email or promotional email, is to create a compelling offer. Okay. Compelling offer piques the interest of the reader. It basically takes them to a point where they need to take action. There's a lot of psychology behind this. Again, fear of missing out, FOMO. People don't like being excluded from something. If they've been invited and then they realize that they can't get into it, they can't think about, again, I'm talking about cryptocurrency. If any of you have seen this gigantic boost in Dogecoin, people are investing in it because they don't want to miss out. And then the investors that are in there are probably going to pump and dump and people are going to lose money. But people want to get into this cryptocurrency craze. They don't want to miss out. The same thing here. We're offering full 20% off all orders of $75. It's unheard of. And most hats, guess what? They don't cost $75. They cost 120 or more. So I know you're going to spend more. Take 20% off orders 75 plus. Use this coupon. And we put in offer ends at this time. We were very specific, especially if you're doing an offer. Be upfront. It ends at this time. Let people know. Tell them so that they know there's a deadline to it. A clear call to action. Remember, a call to action or a CTA is the button that you're putting out, right? It's telling people to do stuff. Shop now and get 20% off. It couldn't be more obvious. So by using this, by sending this out and sending basically the same email 4 times with different subject lines, we were able to induce $5,000 in sales with $2,000 coming on the 4th email, the last day, right before Easter. So you guys see, I just wanted to prove to you that it doesn't have to be hard. You don't need to feel like this when you're emailing your customers. I've given you a framework, I've taught you quite a bit. I literally just showed you our secret sauce. So it didn't seem too hard, right? You guys feel like it was hard, or do you feel like maybe you're empowered and you can start sending email? Thumbs up. Okay. Well, in this case, before I go on, I worked with Anthony in the Boston Public Library. We came up with a special offer. Do I have your permission to show you the offer? You guys, does that sound good? Okay. If any of you want to get started with Constant Contact, here's what we're going to do. My team is going to build you a custom branded template. We usually charge $350 and up for it. Basically, Constant Contact pays us to do it for you. We're going to save you 30% for the first 3 months. This is if you don't have an account already. And you basically have a link through us to the partner support team. So you don't have to go to generic support. You go through us. We take care of problems much faster because we've been working with Constant Contact for 10 years. So if you're interested, you can email me. You don't have to tell me now. You don't have to put it in the chat. Just email me, brian@briankaplan.com. Okay. Now, for those of you who already have a Constant Contact account, I didn't leave you hanging. If you're already working with them and you're not a marketing agency, we do not do this for marketing agencies or marketing consultants. I can't tell you how many times marketing consultants have come to us to help them do their marketing. No, not happening. So if you have a small business and you already are working with Constant Contact, we'll provide you a free audit. So basically, we'll look at your account, we'll jump into your account, we'll give you subject line tips, we'll tell you about images and linking, how you can use basically image descriptors, things like that. We'll look at your composition and we'll give you ideas for future emails. Again, if you're already using it, just email me, brian@briankaplan.com, and we'll set up something with my team where we can help you go through it and audit your account. Easy enough. So now, my friends, let me open it up to questions. I'm going to unmute you all if I can figure out how to do it. Let's see. Or no, I'm not going to I'm not going to unmute you all. I take that back. What I'm going to do, because that would just be horrible, I'm going to allow you guys. That was not a good idea at all. I'm going to allow you, and who knows what you're doing if you're not on video. I'm going to allow you guys to unmute yourself. So what we can do, you can start your video if you'd like. You can unmute yourself. Robin, great question. What's the expiration of that on that deal? Laugh out loud. FOMO, fear of missing out. There's no expiration. I'm not giving you guys an expiration. I'm not doing that today. Here's the deal. So basically, if you're even working with MailChimp, we can help you migrate. So you can download your lists. We'll help you upload them into Constant Contact. To give you an idea, their packages start at $20 20, 25 bucks a month. And then basically from there, they go up depending on how many contacts you have. We get a coupon code as a partner for 30% off, and we give that to you. Your cost isn't any different going through us than it would be going through constantcontact.com, except you don't have those people calling you all the time. So there you go. There's the deal right there. We'll basically build a template for you based on your website, on the look and feel of your website. We'll make sure it's right for you. We'll set it up in the proper sections based on best practices and get you going. What other questions do we have? Feel free to unmute yourself. Let me go back here. Feel free to unmute yourself and let me know what questions you have based on what we covered today. Is there something that you want me to go over again? Do you have a question about a specific email you've written? So don't be bashful. You can unmute. And if you're going to be bashful, that's okay. There's a good amount of people in the room. If you got value out of today's session, I always ask this. Can you type in the word value in the chat? Was it worth your time? I can't unmute. Okay, hold on. Robin, let me get to you. There you go, Robin.
Thanks. I can't.
Of course.
My video won't go on either. So whatever.
Oh boy.
Actually, I look better in the picture today, but.
Well, it's nice to talk to you, Robin. I know that we exchange emails quite a bit.
Yeah.
So what's your question?
So my question is, I was on Google Trends and looking at, kind of like various different angles that I could, different search. A couple questions. One is, sure. You can look as a topic or as a search term, or can you give me a little bit of an idea about what's the best way to use Google Trends to find out, what's going to pique somebody's interest? Then, sure. So that's that. So distinguishing between the trends and the search terms, and if there are any other options there. And then the other thing is when I put in, because you can do 5 of them and compare them.
Yep.
So I'm wondering about, like combining things, would it be like, I put in feng shui, interior design, home office, divorce, and moving. So I work with people.
You're going to have of course, you work with people and can you give people context? Can you just give people context what your business is?
Yeah, what I do is I help people recreate home when they're moving because they're getting married, generally later in life. And so they're combining households, or somebody might be getting divorced, or they're empty nester. And so it's not so much about, it's going to be beautiful, but it's first of all going to function for the next chapter. So that's what I do. So what I'm thinking is, what are going to be the terms? And it was interesting that when I put in feng shui, interior design, and was another organizing, I think they all came out about the same on the graph. And then I put in, put some other things in, and they get a lot more hits. Yep. So I'm wondering about, how to combine that information possibly in a title or in a topic too.
Sure. Let's tell you what, let's go to google.com/trends. I think this could actually help everyone. So just to explain what Google Trends is, and just, search term or topic, it's going to be the same thing, right? So you were talking about feng shui. Mm-hmm. Is that how I spell it? Yeah.
Although they give you the option of identifying it as either a topic or a search term. So I didn't understand that distinction really.
Let's look. Feng shui as a topic versus feng shui as a search term. So
what does that mean?
Let's look, because I didn't even know about this. How do you like that? See, I just tell you the truth. I don't know. Search terms show matches for all terms in your query. So the search term for banana would include terms like banana or banana sandwich. Topics are groups of terms that share the same concept in any language. So if you search the term London, your search includes results for topics such as capital of the UK, laundress, which is London in Spanish.
Oh,
So if we go back, basically a topic is going to be more collective of what people are looking for. Okay.
okay.
So we would want to use topic, and then let's just say interior design. Okay, that's gonna be a search term. So they're gonna have certain topics, certain search terms.
Mhm.
Let's say divorce. So divorce, if you're comparing those, I get that it's part of your world, but probably in the world of a searcher, it's not gonna make sense unless you're saying like moving out as a search
Uh,
term
yeah.
or something. And now we're starting to kind of see how this is. So, guys, to explain how this works, and then we'll jump back into email. But this is really good for you figuring out subject lines and also how to create topics that might be of interest on social media as well, or even blog posts. What we're doing
Mhm.
is we're seeing the relative popularity over time. It's in the United States. Sorry, my children are running a stampede upstairs. Robin, where are you located?
I'm in, I'm in Maryland in the DC area, just north of Washington, DC.
Let's do Washington, D.C. There you go. Maryland, Washington, D.C. Past 12 months. We could choose categories if we want to. So you can start diving down a little bit. You can see if people are looking on YouTube search, image search, news search. Just keep it on web search. That's fine. But now we're seeing that interior design is actually, because Google has enough information. You see how the dotted line starts showing a decline in interior design and an
Uh-huh.
incline in moving out. Well, moving out could be that 30 something year old kids were living with their parents, they had to move back in, or 20 something year olds, and now they're moving out, so they're looking for that. So we also have to kind of extrapolate a little bit, but we see that that's a hot topic. Now it's jumping to maybe 50% of the share, so it's getting some, it's getting some play. People are looking out or looking for moving out, so maybe that's something we want to talk about. Are you moving out? Are you planning on moving out? So is it perfect? No. But is it going to kind of give you a little bit of an inclination of what terms you could use? Yeah. Does that help?
Yeah, yeah, it does. But then
Okay.
the other piece of that is com if I combine a couple topics that seem to be trending topics, does that um, is that kind of like an exponential increase then in interest potentially? Or would that be more, or could
You
that
would
be, could
you
that
would
just eliminate people and like one negates the other?
it's like cooking. Like if you would think that adding more salt and more sugar to something is going to add more flavor, but then it's going to negate. It's going to be the same thing. So you're going to want to focus on one thing, but that's where you might have three sections, and you use your subject line as one thing to talk about, are you moving out? And then your pre-header text, hey, here's 4 tips for feng shui in your house, or 4 tips for, interior design for your new pad. So now that's where you can use your subject line and your pre-header text to hit on both topics to try to get both audiences.
Mm, okay, thank you.
Yep. It just takes testing. The way that you can also test a good litmus test is obviously putting it out on social media. If you have a good amount of engagement, whether it's on Instagram, if it's on LinkedIn, Twitter, wherever, Facebook, and see how people are reacting to it. Also look at sign up for all of your competitors' newsletters, send it to some personal, I call it the junk drawer email, whatever it is, your Gmail, your Yahoo, whatever, see what they're sending out too. I've been seeing that some of the things that we're sending out, all the other marketing companies around us are sending out the same things. Could it just be coincidence, kismet? Maybe. Or could it be that it's a giant trend that a lot of clients are asking about, and that's why we're talking about it? So that's what you want to be looking at too. What are other people looking at? What are your competitors doing?
Okay.
Did
And
you
what
have
type
another
of
question?
well, I think that covers a lot of it. Thanks.
Okay, awesome. Who else? You guys can now unmute and you can show your cameras. I figured out how to do it. I never work on Zoom. There you are.
Looks
Anybody
fun.
else? Let's see. Let's see. I'm seeing something in the chat. What are the best practices for building an email list? Don, great question. So, for building your email list, first thing is go through all of your past clients. If you have their customer information, if you have their emails, put it into a spreadsheet. When you create the spreadsheet, and let me actually just go and create a new spreadsheet to show you. Sheets.new. There we go. So I'm just using a blank spreadsheet as an example just to show you, but I would, if you are creating your contact list, and I know Matthew, you had said that too from the Ozarks, first name, last name if you have it, email address. If you want, add their phone number. If they bought a certain product or if there's a keyword or a tag that describes them, put that in. The more detailed you are now, the more you're going to get out of your list later. If you guys just do a dump where you're just doing, oh, you took a screenshot, huh? If you guys just do a dump where you're just doing the email address, this just happened with someone. I was talking to someone who, and I actually did a blueprint strategy session with her. She sells jewelry. When people join the mailing list, they only put in their email address. But then when an email is sent out, it says, hey, instead of, hey, my first name. So now I know that it's a messed up custom greeting, but if she had my first name, then it would say, hey, Brian, already I'm sucked in. I'm already engaged because it mentions my name. So it behooves you to have your first name at least and the email address. Last name, because you're going to have definitely people with the same first name. There's 2 Robins on this webinar. So now for growing your list, I'm actually going to do another webinar on growing your list. I have a bunch of ways to grow your list, but start with your contacts already, your customers. What you also want to do is ask, family members. So put them on the list, call them or text them and be like, can I put you on the list so that you can forward it to your friends? When I started my company, when I started the agency 10 years ago, I used our wedding list. We got married in the Dominican Republic. We had about 150 people that we invited. I was trying to thin the herd, but all of them came. So that's another thing. But basically, I had 150 people on my wedding list, 150 email addresses. I sent out my first email to them was, hey, I'm starting my business. I hope you guys can help me. Here's what I do. And then they started sharing it. And then I started growing more subscribers. So you want to do that. Another way to grow your mailing list is to have a subscription pop up, or basically something where people can join on your website. So for us, we have a pop up on certain screens where you can join the mailing list, or we have, you can download our ebook or something. We're just trying to build our community. For you, you might offer something. So we had people that we worked with a client that was offering free paintballs. So if you've ever gone paintballing, you pay for the gun, but the real money's in the paintballs because it costs nothing. So this person offered 100 free paintballs and had 2,000 people join the list in less than 3 weeks, which was insane because it was such a compelling deal. So having a pop-up or some sort of offer on your site, great way to do it. The other thing, go through your old contact form submissions. A lot of the time, when you build a website, it has that basic, like if you're using WordPress or anything, it has a basic form. Well, you can actually, in a lot of cases, connect that contact form. When people go to your contact us page, you can connect it so that they're added to your email list right away. Best practice, really easy to do. We do it with a lot of clients. And then what happens? People get the welcome email when they submit the contact form. So go through your old contact form submissions and see if there are any people that you've left out that maybe you lost in the mix, in the shuffle, that you could add to your list. Those are 3 easy ways to do it. Very welcome, Vicky. I know some of you have to go too because we're going over time. Value, how about emails for thanking people for buying and asking for a review? Same concept as sales emails. I unmute, but you hear my baby not sleeping. Oh, okay, no problem. So Tiffany, to answer your question, yeah, a thank you email and asking them to review is great. Give them a little time to stew. So, if you're running an e-commerce store or a shopping cart online, don't just send the email right away. Give them 3 to 5 days, or if you're shipping it and it takes time to ship, takes time for them to open, factor that time in. You can always automate that as well if you add them to a new customers list. For us, my wife and I were selling masks. Robin, you actually helped me with one of the links that didn't work. But my wife and I sold masks on Etsy, and I basically left it to my wife to do most of the marketing. I taught her how to do it, and I wanted her to do it. So we actually had something where the Etsy shop, when someone bought, would go right to our constant contact account. And then we'd wait a few days and we'd ask them to leave a review. So there's some automation you can do in there, but definitely sending an email where you request a review is great. Again, buyer beware, do not send them to Yelp, because Yelp knows when someone clicks on an external link. Yelp's terms of service says that they need to feel compelled by the buying experience to find you on Yelp, to go on yelp.com, search for your business, find you, and leave a review. If they click on a link, Yelp knows it's an external referral, and most likely that review will be hidden. That's why Yelp is just a horrible business, even though I presented at their headquarters. I know, Kevin, I see you laughing. Mother's Day 2021 is already being used by one of my ventriloquist competitors, and he is much better than me. Great. Mother's Day is, of course, a trending topic. And then Father's Day. So all the big holidays and the gift giving days are going to be big ones. So Kevin, if you're sending personal messages or fun video messages, doing something like Cameo, then you're going to want to tap into the Mother's Day market and such. That's a great idea. Kimmy, is having a spreadsheet better than using Google Contacts? No. So when you use an email marketing system, right? So when you use a platform like Constant Contact, like MailChimp, or any of them, what's going to happen is you're going to have all of your contacts saved in a database. So the big thing to note is that when you use one of these tools, you own that contact list. They can't take it away from you. So building your contact list, I can tell you from 10 years in marketing for my own agency, that's the biggest asset you have. Nothing else. Your social followers, Facebook could turn you off tomorrow. Instagram could cancel your account. Twitter could go out of business. Those people are just followers, and it's a lot of noise. When you have an email address and someone that's opted into you, it's huge. Now, that being said, if they're in Google Contacts, you can export that as a file, as a spreadsheet, which is fine. But when you start using an email marketing tool like a Constant Contact, when you upload them into your email platform, they live there. And now you can dive in and you can see, like, hey, Kevin opened this email, or Robin opened this email. Oh, Robin clicked on that link. She might be interested in that. To give you an idea, one of our clients is a realtor. People don't really like hearing from realtors much after they buy the house. But what we did is we turned that on its head. We don't say, hey, here's the newest listing, because no one cares. They're already in their house. Instead, we're saying, hey, here's a new event, or here are the top 15 restaurants, or here's 5 places you can go in Boston that are private parks where you can go with your puppies or something. So we send that. And then we have deliberately a section that says for buyers and another section that says for sellers. We curate one article in each of those. Now, guess what? Whoever clicks on the for buyers link, now they're in a list that says, hey, these are potential buyers. For sellers, potential sellers. So now we're able to see what people are doing. We can kind of see that context, right? So now we're able to target them properly. That's all living in Constant Contact for us. And we have a treasure trove of data that my realtor and her team then go and contact these people and say, hey, I just sent out an email about something with blah, blah, blah. Have you heard? Did you get a chance to look at it? Is it something of interest? So it's a great way when you start using these tools properly to warm up your list. What else? So we use Google News for topics and need to quote the source, plagiarism, but how do we take and use that content? Okay, Google News, or you find it from a blog, you're able to paraphrase content. I could go on a blog and go grab something and paraphrase 2 or 3 sentences, and then I could say, more at, or sourced by, or courtesy of blah, blah, blah. And you just link to that article. That's it. And then you're going to basically, you pop that in, whether you take a screenshot and have a link to go to that article, or if you actually copy and paste it into your email or your blog post or whatever, you're allowed to paraphrase. You're allowed to take a couple, as long as you're citing your source. Then you're going to write whatever your content is, whatever your reaction is to that content down below, and keep it short and sweet. What I would do in this case, so let's say that, Tanya, for you, what's your business? You can type it in the chat. I'll give you a second. Please say photographer. Yeah, don't use Google Images. Boston sports leagues for area young professionals. Oh, awesome. You're going to be booming soon. Okay, so Boston sports leagues. So let's say that you're going and you're quoting someone because 20 somethings, they're not falling apart yet. When you get to your 30s, you start falling apart. So 20 somethings, maybe it's how to stretch before a game. And you're going to go to a physical therapist or something and get a video that they have. You could grab it off YouTube, or you're going to get an image that they share on their site, or you're going to share their 3 steps to stretching before a softball game to make sure that you don't tear your shoulder or pull your hamstring. You can put that in your email and then just cite the source. That's it. So very, very simple. Then you can curate content. You're still giving them something of value. Or you could talk about, hey, 5 places to go after the game. So if it's a Boston sports leagues, where are some places that the team can go afterwards where they can go grab a drink or whatever else? Debbie, if I have an older email contact list, you're welcome, Tanya. Is it a good idea to use it, or should I start fresh? We have not been sending emails for a couple of years. Great question, Debbie. Here's what you're going to do. You're going to do hey, we want to reconnect email. So it's kind of, it's one of those things that people are going to say, okay, great. You're going to have some people where, you might just say, hey, listen, over the past couple of years, we've lost touch. We want to reconnect with you. And we're not just going to email you about our business. We're going to add value. Here's what we're planning on sending you. You're going to have people unsubscribe, usually with these emails, especially if you go over 6 months or a year. You're going to have a lot of people saying, why the heck are they sending me this? And they'll click on the spam button or the unsubscribe button. That's okay. In the email, though, in order to avoid spam complaints and rather have them unsubscribe, what you can do is send them an email that says, would you like to hear emails about, and remember that poll. Let me go back to this poll feature because we actually use this ourselves. If I can find it. Here we go. So notice in this email, let's kind of switch it up a little bit. Instead of what flavor would you like to try? Hey, what are you interested in hearing about? And you can have different options, whatever your products are, stories, whatever it is, promotions and deals, or, this doesn't really, I'm not really interested. And they can click there and then they'll be brought to a page where they can unsubscribe. Or they're added to a list and you can just add them to your do not send list. So you're avoiding unsubscribe. That's kind of a way to get around it. But by giving them options now and saying, we realize we haven't talked to you, but here are some options for us to continue talking and engaging. You're giving them a great way to put some skin in the game, tell you what they want, or tell you that they're not interested. And it avoids all the spam complaints. Don, can you give an example for a headshot photographer? Okay. So just as an email in general, Don, what I would do is I would go curate some of the worst headshots around. And I would just, I would basically take some of those that you find in different places. And then you preface, listen, do you want to avoid these different headshots? There's a reason for it. Your headshot is your calling card, is how people are going to identify you. You want to make sure that you're professional, especially on LinkedIn or something like that. Here are some fun ones that we've seen that really, might not play into it. So you could do that. You could curate some headshots that need work or need improvement. You could also, what you could do is you could maybe break down a LinkedIn profile. Right. So you can go get someone else's content and say, hey, here's a great thing that we just found on how to beef up your profile on LinkedIn. But one of your biggest things and one of the things you're going to see is that your headshot or your profile pic is huge. It matters a lot. We can help. Contact me. So you're curating content to add value, but then you're saying, hey, this one thing is going to be really important. On LinkedIn, people are seeing your headshot before anything else. You're going to want a professional headshot work with Don. So stuff like that you can use. It might be like horror stories from photo shoots or something like that. It could just be like you just find shots and they're just like celebrities that they just caught in the wrong, like when all the paparazzi are around, they catch them in mid chew or whatever. You could curate those as well. So there's different ways that you can use headshots and be like, you don't want to look like this, do you? That's why you're going to contact us. You're welcome. You're welcome. You're welcome. Good. It looks like we got value too. Let me just make sure I didn't miss. No problem if you missed most of the session. I'll be recording this and putting it up on the YouTube channel. Awesome. Okay. Well, guys, I kept you here for an extra 30 minutes. Thank you all so much. It was nice seeing some of you again. I haven't seen you in a while. Hopefully, we'll have an in-person session sometime soon. But until then, stay well, stay healthy, stay happy. And of course, as I always say, here's to your success, guys. Have a good one.